like we're finally ready to start pulling cable.
Well, it sure does.
Well, you know, the cable schedule we made earlier is going to tell us which cable we need to pull to which outlet location.
You know, it really doesn't matter if we pull from the outlet boxes back to the distribution center or from the center back out to the boxes. And we chose to keep our cable right here in the laundry room.
Sure.
So that we don't have to move the boxes and spools around so much.
Right, and I'm not about to move these around very much, that's for sure. And we're going to use a variety of Genesis cable on the job. We've got 3 different colors of Cat5 for different applications. Regular quad RG6, audio cable, and 2 and 4 conductor security cable. We've got this Siamese quad RG6, handy on our roof locations. And where we need 2 Cat5 and 2 RG6 at the same outlet, we're going to pull this bundle cable. It's got all 4 inside a common jacket. And we're even going to use the Siamese Cat5 and RG6. This is real handy at places like camera locations.
For larger wire and lengths, they're going to come on big spools like this. And the easiest way to install this stuff is to hang it on a pipe temporarily on studs right near the pull location.
Yeah, looks good. So let's get started. And we recommend pulling to a floor or section of the house at a time, starting with the farthest location first.
Well, Grayson, why don't we pull to the master bedroom suite then? That's the farthest away from here.
Sure.
And we've got outlets 2 and 3.
Yeah.
That's a structured cable and 3 separate cables.
Right. Now, try pulling all the cable you need at an outlet at one time. It saves a lot of time. And to save a lot of headaches later, make sure you label each cable before you pull it. Now, we recommend using a pre-wire trim-out labeling system like we're going to use. We're going to put a temporary label during pre-wire and replace it with a permanent label at trim-out. You'll see why this saves a lot of time later. Blank peel and stick labels, clear and white, are available from electrical and cable distributors. They're large enough to wrap 2 or 3 times around the cable with a clear part to go over your writing to protect it. You can also use pre-printed number and letter labels available from the same sources. Trim-out vinyl labeling can also use peel and stick labels that you write on, but a more professional installation will use a label from a portable label maker. You can also use a PC and printer to pre-print all your labels you need for the job in the shop.
Now we're going to use these write-on labels. There are 2 labels for each cable. One is attached to the end that we pull through, and the other one we're going to leave on the box so that at the end when we cut them, we don't get mixed up.
Okay, now when you've got to pull several cables at a time, it's a lot easier if you wrap the ends together with a piece of tape so they don't come apart while you're trying to pull them. Okay, we were going to use a bundle cable and 3 of these cables at a time. Let's give that a shot.
Okay, here's your first label. This is the blue Cat5.
All right, this is 2A. Hang on. Okay,
Super.
and
here's your second label. That's
give me the one for the box. 2A
you
for the
betcha.
box.
2A for the box.
Because I don't want to forget what I'm doing here.
Great idea.
2A. All right.
Perfect. Okay, this is your orange Cat5.
Orange Cat5. Okay.
And here's your orange Cat5 for the box.
Box.
Okay, now we have an RG6.
RG6.
There's for the cable.
All right.
And here's your RG6 for the box.
Box.
Okay. All
and
right.
this puppy, give me number.
We've got number 3 for the structured cable.
Okay.
And we got a number 3. We'll put it on the big spool. Thank you very much. Here we go.
Like most of the bundles we'll pull, we feed the cable down the hallway through the J-hook pulleys up into the rafter space over the great room. From there, I follow the J-hooks we mounted across the room parallel to the rafters. Once in the master suite, the bundle cable branches off to outlet number 2 on the east wall of the master bedroom. Once the slack is removed and I double check that the cable is run to the right location, I cut the cable to the right length and reposition the label. The remaining 2 Cat5 and the RG6 cable are routed down to outlet number 4 on the west wall of the master bedroom. After each bundle of cable is pulled, we drop the cables off the pulleys into the J-hook to get ready for the next cable pull. When the cables are pulled, Rich takes the labels from the boxes or spools and applies them to the cable, then cuts the cable with a little extra slack. He then passes them through the feed holes. Now this is a lot easier than trying to feed the cable through these holes when the cable is being pulled. Now never try to yank cable around a sharp bend or pull it too hard. Each cable has a maximum pull tension established by the manufacturer. For category 5, this is typically 25 pounds. Exceeding it, particularly around a sharp bend, can damage the cable or tear the jacket. For coaxial cable, it's around 35 pounds. Exceeding that can break the shield. The foiled is particularly vulnerable. Now, for other types of cable, consult the manufacturer's product literature. Now, when pulling across a sharp bend, either use 2 people or feed the cable like this as you go. Now, if you're pulling cable through a hole that already has cable in it, be extra careful. The friction on the rubbing jackets can possibly damage the jacket of some of the cable. Make sure there are no kinks. A kink is another example of exceeding the minimum bend radius. If a cable has been pulled with a kink, it's probably been damaged, especially coaxial cable. Play it safe and replace it. And don't even think about a splice. A splice will destroy the characteristics of TP cable, and a splice in coax is just as bad. Any splice is a possible poor, corroded connection and a problem just waiting to happen. Simply make sure there's enough wire on the spool to make the run. Now all communication cable has a recommended minimum bend radius. For TP cable, this is about 1 inch. Now too sharp a bend in TP will cause the pairs to untwist and cross with other pairs. For coaxial cable, the minimum bend radius is about 2.5 inches. Now too sharp a bend in coax will cause the center conductor to cut through the dielectric and short to the shield. We continue to pull the cables in bundled groups to specific areas. Rich pulls the power and data cables for the core access panel. Despite our best effort, it never goes quite as smooth as we try to make it look. Meanwhile, Steve pulls the cable needed for the kitchen and breakfast area across the J-hooks and the great room rafters. Then Steve and Eric pull the cables needed at the entertainment area. In this case, across the great room, to the far entertainment equipment shelves, and down. While Steve branches off into the master bedroom suite to pull the thermostat control cable. We also pull speaker cable to the volume control locations, and from there to the in-ceiling speakers. The cable to the speakers was zigzag stapled between the rafters for easy retrieval at trim out. We took photographs of each ceiling and wall speaker location we pre-wired to document the cable location for trim out. We also pulled 2 Cat5 and 2 RG6 cables to the service entrance location and provided enough slack cable outside to reach the telephone and cable NID. Due to the very high frequencies from the LNB to the receiver, and the fact that the receiver is supplying power to the LNB over the coaxial cable, you need to be very careful not to exceed the installation specifications. The signal loss from the LNB to the receiver can't exceed 20 dB. This equates to a maximum length at 1.45 GHz for DirecTV, of 150 feet for RG6 or 225 feet for RG11, and at 2.25 GHz for the dish network, of 125 feet for RG6 and 165 feet for RG11. Since it's passing the DC operating current to the LNB, about 200 mils per LNB, the DC characteristics of the coax cable is very important. Now the maximum voltage drop from the receiver to the LNB should not exceed 1.25 volts. This works out to a maximum loop resistance of about 6 ohms. Now we're using very good quality 18 gauge solid conductor RG6 that's been tested to over 2.2 gigs, more than adequate for a 150-foot cable run.